Selectman Goulart alluded to the closet with the question mark. I don't want to completely eliminate closets from downstairs, so I may take space from the accounting office to do that. But I want to get a handle on what we need closet space for. Just don't want to create closets for us to stuff things in and then you never look at it again, so.
Thank you.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
we have stuff down there that we took a look at that we don't need. We have a full box of annual reports from 2013. I don't think we need the whole box of those. We can save some, obviously, but we don't need to keep all that stuff. So I think we can go through all that stuff and see what
And
we
if you
need and
look-
what we don't need.
Sorry, if you look through the closets, unfortunately, that's mostly what we have, so we can consolidate pretty considerably. So the accounting office then, I think that's self-explanatory. It would be slightly larger than what's there now for planning. I know that she has quite a bit of back files. The accountant may also, through the auditor's oversight, may tell me they need secured closets in that room. That's fine. I have the footprint within that office area to make those if that's needed.
All of their filing cabinets lock,
Okay,
so we might be okay on
We
that.
might be
But still
okay.
ask the question. I just
Okay.
know that they all lock.
okay, all right. And then moving towards the center of the room, which actually repurposes an existing space, there's a closet outside of planning, which I plan to make what I called, and we can call it whatever we like, a town official's kiosk. There's been a need for various boards and committees to have a desk, a telephone, and locking file cabinets that they can use, but we don't have the ability to give them their own office. So we can create a space that would accommodate several boards, committees, et cetera, by doing it in this kiosk-type setup. So I know Selectman Goula has said to me it would be nice if she had a space, a quiet space that she go to, lay things out on the table, maybe use the telephone, things like that. And I know Parks and Recs has, inquired about it, the Historical Commission. So this space would be a multifaceted space. I envision it as not being a small room that's claustrophobic. I want to have short walls. I want to have an open area. I want it to be inviting. I don't even want doors on. I want it to have a pass-through where you walk in, but yet you can still have your privacy. So, of course, that's open for discussion, but that's my suggestion.
No, I like that. Thank you.
Yep. The remainder of the space, which equates to a little over 700 square feet, would be divided up into two offices. Naturally, one larger than the other because it's going to accommodate the new land use department, which would be planning and zoning, and then the current sewer department, which would be two employees. So, and I know this is not to scale, and I know we had apologies earlier about plans. I draw these things quick. I don't have time to do it on CAD, but I want you to get the idea. But for everybody at home and for the board, town administrator, the sewer department is estimated at 240 square feet. If you have visited the old town hall and you look at the area that the zoning board and my Nancy is in right now, that's 240 square feet. That's more than enough space for two individuals to work and not be claustrophobic. So again, it's how you lay out the office, doors at the end, not in the middle of the room, which causes, interruptions in the wall space. So I think the plan functions fairly well. And when we do all this, we're gonna do new ceiling tiles, new lighting, new painting, new carpeting, et cetera. So it'll be a renewed space.
Would the sewer commission be meeting in that new meeting?
Yes.
The renovated meeting room?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll no longer, because that took up a majority of
Right.
their space,
Right.
So
was
we
meeting in there.
stopped, with the exception during this construction, allowing people to meet in their offices because for a variety of concerns and issues. So it's a beautiful space now, and they can move. And plus, they're close to it. Like they're on that side of the hallway in the plan because they need to be accessible to their plans and documents rather quickly, much like we are when we go to
Right.
our meetings.
Yeah, a lot of thought has been put into this. I just didn't slap something down on paper. We put a lot of thought into it. We've had a lot of dialogue, talking about how government works, how it should work, what are our deficiencies, things of that nature. So, even though I might have drawn it quickly, a lot of thought went into the background, so.
No, I think this is, I really am impressed by it, and I hope that the board will approve the proposal, and I look forward to, if the board does approve it, to seeing how it all pans out, because the first phase looks really nice.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So there's two things that I haven't done yet. I haven't put a solid, hard number on this yet, but I can tell you it will be more than what the meeting room was, especially when you encumber bathrooms. Bathrooms are very expensive, so, so I'm gonna work on that. I know we did budget accordingly in the building fund this year to try to accommodate some things like this, so, but I will try to get back to the board with a number that I think it'll cost. The other thing is, even though this is another phase, the phase in it, you know, let's call it phase 2 for argument's sake. This will also be phased within the phase, because I have to keep all these offices running while this is going on.
Correct.
So there will be some flip-flopping of offices in the meantime to try to keep government running while I'm doing this, and keep the rooms accessible by the public so that nobody's in a construction zone, things of that nature. But I'm looking forward to the challenge. I think we'll be able to pull it off.
I think it's fantastic, and I just want everyone watching at home.
It is, I'm sorry. So what that was is they did the switch over. They have their cameras, so hi,
Okay.
everybody.
I just want everyone, to be aware that part of the reason why the town invested in the restoration of Old Town Hall was also partly to alleviate congestion in this building, which is why it's one of our items on our 5-year plan. So I just want everyone to keep that in mind as well.
Have you had an opportunity to speak to these different departments and see if this takes care of their needs?
I have talked to some of the departments. I have not told them exactly how things were gonna work, because until the Board of Selectmen is supportive,
Correct.
I'm not going anywhere. So with that said, I have talked to planning, that the current employee of planning is actually looking forward to sharing the office with zoning. So she's even working toward, because of the logistics part of this and the problem that's arose next door, she's actually already started to clear her office out so that we can move the zoning board and her together temporarily in what will be the accounting office while this is all happening. So sewer, so I have had some discussions with planning, not in detail. Sewer, we're very brief. If the board supports the plan, then certainly I will meet with them and let them know what's going on, and also let them know what disruptions they can expect. I try to keep it to a minimum, but there will be some inconveniences. But I think we can do it in such a way where it'll be non-intrusive.
I know when we had discussions about it, the three of us, I know there was an idea to have planning separate from zoning, and then sewer also would retain its own space. I actually like this plan better, because having planning and zoning in the same office, having the office managers working near each other, I think might provide a continuity in terms of land use and development that maybe we didn't have before. So I really like this idea better.
Right, and if you think back long ago, the idea was to bring planning next door for that exact reason. We just ran out of square footage. So this fixes that problem and puts them back in the same space, so,
I like it.
yeah.
Innovative.
You have any questions, Mrs. Goulart?
No.
Mr. Chairman, are you entertaining motions?
Yes, I am.
I will entertain a motion both to approve Phase 2 of the lower level renovations, and also to allow the building commissioner, or authorize the building commissioner to provide the board with some estimates, if you will.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Thank you for your support.
Do you have any idea what the time frame would be, Jim?
This one will be a little difficult to nail down because of the fact that I have to try to work within an office where someone's working, so it's gonna be a little tough to nail down.
Well, you've also got
Right.
outside contract
Right,
for plumbing.
exactly. The other thing too is, Tom and I do well about keeping our lists in our pocket, but we have a huge list that need to get done, and the guys won't be able to work here exclusively. So, but I don't want it to run on. I wanna try to have the shock and awe like we did with the meeting room, but this will take longer.
Is there any extensive electrical work that has to be done?
No, for the most part, the electrical infrastructure is in place, with the exception of the LED lighting. We replaced all of the fixtures downstairs. They're all low profile, high-efficiency LED lighting instead of the retrofit style that we had, so.
Very nice.
Okay, thank you.
It was a lot
Thank you.
brighter, the carpet looks
It's
nice, so I can't
Completely
wait
gorgeous.
to see how phase 2 looks.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
for everybody at home, thank you for your support.
And thank you,
Hopefully you like it.
and thank you to the building department and the highway department as well. We do appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't we go back to the regular agenda, go to the town administrator report. We're gonna do the town administrator's evaluation, so that the public knows.
Sorry, I was just gonna do the insurance costs, it's very quick, if that's okay.
I guess.
I'm
it's gonna
sorry.
very
It'll
quick.
be very
Either-
quick.
Either we do it before or after, it's gonna be very quick.
Okay,
but
all
that's
right, sure, that's fine then.
We all set, board?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Mr.
Good night,
Commissioner.
thank you.
Yes, on the insurance.
Thank you, Mr. Ferry.
So, a while back, I don't remember exactly when it was, I had requested that we unfortunately terminate our relationship with Torres Insurance and go to another broker. We chose FB Insure, and there were some conversations about cost savings. I just provided a brief analysis, very simple, to be honest, but I went back to FY17, and I gave you a few notes here, but going out this year, we are $7,400, a little more than $7,400 less than the previous year. So I had told you I would report on that, and that's me.
Well, I'm impressed.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go to the town administrator's evaluation, so that the public knows we, on an annual basis, do an evaluation of our town administrator. Unfortunately, from my point of view anyway, it has to be public. So we're gonna go through the whole evaluation process now. We each have our own evaluations that we've done for our town administrator. We have not seen each other's yet.
Okay, I only printed one copy.
Karen took care of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So because they are considered opinion, they cannot be shared previous to a meeting, just for the public's knowledge.
Okay, so the way I think we ought to handle it is I'll explain to the public as to what the process is here. I'll give my opinion on the evaluation on the first item. I'll go to my fellow select persons, and they can give theirs, and then we'll go to the second item. So
So
we
you're
ha-
gonna, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, are you gonna read it entirely, give the point scale, like how do you want
I'm going
everyone
to
to
read
do
it
it?
entirely.
Okay,
But by doing it by each section and turn it to you, you guys don't
Okay,
have to read
sure.
the whole
Yep.
thing. So we have a rating scale. Just so you know that this should have been done in May. I had asked the board, because that would have been the year for when the previous one was done. I had asked the board because of the warrants coming up, the budget, annual town meeting, that we hold off until July. So I would ask that annually now would be July. Every year we'll do the evaluation in July. So we have a rating scale. Employees shall be rated, and this is a new evaluation from the previous evaluation, and this is something that the whole board has voted on to support this evaluation. Rating scale. Employees shall be rated on the following rating scale to evaluate performance in each of the following categories, including comments to support or clarify the ratings in the spaces next to each category. Be sure to include information related to the employee's job description and planned goals, work priorities for the evaluation period. There are 5 scores. If you give a score of 5, that is excellent. The employee's performance consistently surpasses expectations and substantially affects the department's results. He or she regularly takes initiative to significantly improve prior practices and/or develops new approaches to increase quality and productivity. 4, above average. The employee performance exceeds expectations for all major duties and essential functions of his or her job. He or she is willing to take on new tasks and responsibilities as needed by the town of Dayton. 3, consistent performer. The employee can be relied upon to do what it takes to get the job done accurately and efficiently. He or she meets all the requirements of the job. 2, developing performer. The employee is demonstrating efforts in learning the essential functions of his or her position. The employee is aware of areas for personal improvement and is working towards increasing his or her performance in these areas. 1, needs improvement. The employee is not meeting the required standards of her job. If improvements are not made, further disciplinary action may be taken. Performance criteria. Employees should be rated in 7 categories: job knowledge and skills, quality of work, planning and organization, teamwork and attitude, dependability, independent initiative and leadership, and managerial effectiveness. A total score will be produced by adding the scores of each criteria. The first one is job knowledge and skills. The categories that, or the items that we're looking at, understands all aspects and requirements of the job, possesses the knowledge and skills necessary to perform all job duties proficiently, performs duties with limited assistance, understands how own job relates to other departments, including those not under the Board of Selectmen's jurisdiction, strives to maintain up-to-date skills, keeps abreast with new developments, laws, and requirements. So my comment regarding this category is, I feel that Ms. Aristine has a great grasp of her duties and responsibilities as it relates to her position as Dayton's Town Administrator. She continues to expand her knowledge by attending seminars and training in her field. In my experience in working with her, if she doesn't have an answer for you, she will seek the answer and get back to you immediately. And I scored her with a 5. I don't know who wants to go.
I'll go. So I wrote that the town administrator, I said Mallory, okay, that Mallory consistently exceeds expectations and routinely goes above and beyond to complete projects, meet deadlines, and obtain positive results. I mean, one example I gave is that she obtained her certification for procurement, which has saved the town annual significant money by doing so, and that was just one example.
And my score was a 5.
And
You
a
gave a
4.
score?
Yep,
Okay, yep.
4.
Sorry, my score was a 5. My comments, Mrs. Aaronstein has the education and background needed for the job. She has been receptive to suggestions about methods to improve processes/procedures. She requests background information and data to get a better understanding of situations. She has taken advantage of personnel training seminars that provide the latest information in related fields.
The second category is quality of work, and what we're looking for is work is thorough, accurate, and complete, high attention to detail, balances multiple tasks and emergencies, produces established standards of work that is performed consistently with skills or craftsmanship, even under pressure or tight deadlines, is resourceful and innovative in his or her work, demonstrates a commitment to continuous improvement. And my comment is, and just before I give my comment, do you want to talk about each of our evaluations, or just wait till the end, and if you have any comments, you can just, in general?
The end is fine. I don't have a lot of comments.
Sure.
I'm actually very happy with this, so, not
I just
actually,
want
I shouldn't say
to make
that.
sure you had an
I
opportunity.
appreciate
so
it. I'm sorry.
I
I
haven't read
appreciate
everybody, so.
I know, I
So-
did.
So my comment under this category, which is quality of work, when given a task, she works on it immediately, while at the same time working and dealing with other concerns. Specifically, her work on updating and improving the town's policies and her work with the policy committee has greatly enhanced the town's ability to move forward. When considering a change, she is thorough in her explanation and reasoning for the change. I give her a score of 5.
So I want to caveat before I read mine and reveal the score. Sometimes I gave 4s, but I really felt like it was a 5, but just I feel very strongly that not everyone is perfect. So that was why maybe
Yeah.
you didn't get a 5.
No, I have that same mentality, so it doesn't.
Sure. That's why we get along. So quality of work, my comments were Mallory is a multitasker who is results-driven. Her quality of work speaks for itself, whether through the policies she has crafted and also assisted the Board of Selectmen in implementing and spans to the contracts and non-union job descriptions that she has helped to produce. She is thorough, honest, and professional. And I gave her a score of 5.
Thank you.
And on quality of work, I gave her a score of 4. Comment, quality of work is good. Work overload is a problem that sometimes hampers judgment. Reference public hearing where the employee's actions did not rise to the level of termination.
So the third category is planning and organization. And what we're looking for is plans, prioritize, and organizes work appropriately, identifies and utilizes resources effectively and responsibly, identifies and works to solve problems as they arise, exhibits good communication skills, actively listens, neat and presentable. And my comment is that Ms. Aristine does a good job in preparing our Board of Selectmen's, soon to be called Select Board, agenda. As noted in her self-evaluation, a lot is put on our agendas. I believe that this is because she wishes to accomplish a lot and move forward We did change to meetings 2 times a month. Prior to that, it was weekly. So far, this has worked out. In addition, as chairman, she is in constant touch with me regarding any issue before the town that requires attention, and I gave her a 4 in this category.
My comments under planning and organization were that Mallory is a natural problem solver, and she also works well with the other departments to assist them in resolving issues as well, i.e. organized and plans ahead. She uses her monthly newsletter to communicate regularly with Dayton residents. It also looks fantastic. That's not in here. She works diligently to resolve the town. She also worked diligently to resolve the town's network and connectivity issues, as well as issues with email accounts. And I'd also like to say, it's not in here, but that you are a multitasker. I know you juggle a lot of things, and it is appreciated, and you do it seamlessly.
Thank you.
And I gave her a score of 4.
Planning and organization, I gave her a score of 3. The need to prioritize work to meet the requirements of the job and applicable state laws in an area that Mrs. Aaronstein has recently planned to address. Meeting minutes not timely filed are an example. Her prioritization must take into consideration the work required to be completed by support staff. This is an example of teamwork and the need to consider the workload of others on whom she relies. Interruptions during the workday are unavoidable given the need for the public to access her in daily town operations. Similar conditions exist with other town hall department heads due to the nature of their functions. She strives to keep up with everything that is going on, and that is commendable, although not always possible.
If, I'm sorry, I do have a question. And it doesn't need to be answered right now, but if I could get some, I guess, feedback on how you would see me improve on that. So the interruptions, I do have this open door policy. I value it very much. I understand what it does to me and my ability to work. I just think that it's more important for me to be accessible to anybody, really. So I do value it. I'm not, if I need to, when the need arises, I do shut my door and I do, put a sign up and ask for privacy, but everybody knows, including Karen, that if the emergency arises, interrupt me, I'll drop everything. But I just want to be frank, I guess. I'm not going to, I understand, and later on you do indicate, work from home a little bit more and take advantage of that flexibility, which I do plan on doing, but I don't know how to stop the interruption, I guess. That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's very difficult. It would be nice if you could close the door and get some of the work done without interruptions, but that's not possible in the type of job that you have, so. Teamwork and attitude is the next category. Category number 4 is receptive to directives, raises questions and concerns in a constructive manner, is open to trying new approaches, procedures, is willing to hear constructive criticism and acts on it, is respectful of co-workers and citizens, handles difficult situations with the public in a courteous, calm, and tactful way, is helpful to citizens, addresses issues with appropriate individuals to solve problems, represents the town well in appearance and demeanor, approaches work positively with interest and willingness, exhibits good customer service. And my comment is Ms. Aristine makes a great effort to work with all town employees. She listens to everyone, is not shy about expressing her opinion in a pleasant way. I've often seen her assist the residents of town with respect and concern. She has had to deal with some difficult situation and is respectful to all. And I give her a score of 5.
Under teamwork and attitude, my comments were Mallory is a consummate professional and is an excellent representative for the town in dealings with the Commonwealth, other municipalities, and the public. She deals with stressful situations tactfully and with great dignity, whether it is criticism from the select board, residents in town, or her peers. I did write that her one area for continuous improvement, my opinion, would be to try to take criticism professionally, not personally. And that was just a blanket statement. It's not all the time. It's hard. It can be hard. I understand.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
Under teamwork and attitude, I gave her a 4. My comments, this evaluation process and form, along with the return to a more efficient process for formulating the annual budget, are examples of teamwork. The evaluation of non-union, non-elected employees who report to the selectmen went relatively well. It was the first time that such a process was instituted, no small task. Personal feelings were resolved as they related to one employee that resulted in a revised evaluation. See comment above regarding prioritization of work as part of teamwork process. The development of a professional evaluation process has provided the standard of measurement needed to fairly rate performance of key town officials. It has provided direction and information upon which to improve or enhance service to the public. I commend Mrs. Aaronstein for her willingness to work towards the achievement of this task.
The next category is dependability. Meets deadlines, consistently gives best effort for one task to another, and during both normal times and times of emergencies. Observes established working hours and is punctual. Appropriately manages use of sick time and unscheduled time off. My comment is, she is very reliable and tries to maintain a realistic schedule. If she says that she's going to do something, she will. She has always been available for me, and I gave her a score of 5.
I also gave our town administrator a 5 under dependability. My comments were, Mallory is quite dependable. She meets deadlines and often produces work before those deadlines. She works many hours outside of established working hours, takes phone calls any hour of the day, including weekends, and also attends town events, most of which are not during working hours. She manages her benefited time judiciously, and hardly uses sick or unscheduled time off. She plans her time off accordingly, and I thank you.
Give her a score of, you already said that?
5, yes.
Said 5. I also gave her a score of 5. Although Mrs. Aaronstein has established working hours, I encourage her to work within the benefits of a flexible work schedule as provided in her contract. Sometimes tasks require complete concentration, and that is not always possible at Town Hall. She puts forth her best efforts, is reliable and dependable.
So the next category is independent initiative. Demonstrates the ability to work alone with continuous supervision, finds and offers better ways to accomplish tasks, takes the initiative to develop new programs or gain knowledge needed to perform his or her job, is able to improvise when faced with obstacles, thinks constructively and originates action, demonstrates resourcefulness and independent thinking, explores innovative solutions, not automatically applying existing approaches. And my comment is, this is one of Ms. Aristein's strong points. She is always presenting new ideas and plans for the Board of Selectmen to look at and address. She also always considers what is the best interest of this town. I give her a score of 5.
I also gave the town administrator a score of 5 under independent initiative. My comments were, Mallory is fiercely independent, caveat, also works well on a team, and I wrote that, see section 4 above. She is constantly looking for ways to streamline public services and to accomplish tasks. One example is that she assisted the Board of Selectmen in implementing a new internship program, which has not just benefited us, per se, the town, but also benefited several specific town departments and continues to do so. She thinks outside of the box and is not beholden to existing approaches, unless they're good. Mallory tackles her duties with vigor, energy, and enthusiasm.
Independent initiative, I gave her a score of 4. In dealing with labor issues, Mrs. Aaronstein should seek and receive information from the selectmen as a board so that they have a chance to hear each other's thoughts and provide direction. Segmented discussions lead to misunderstandings.
I do have a comment about this. I do not disagree, and this is actually not in response to Selectman Goulart alone. If we can come to we have to figure out how to kind of get our meetings on track, because a lot of times, especially now going forward, we're gonna have to have executive sessions later, and that's when I would be able to speak with you about a lot of labor issues, and I do feel pressure to make sure that I don't take a lot of time at the meeting, that we kind of keep things moving, and I don't feel that I get a lot of time to really discuss it at a meeting. So I agree with you.
And when I
You're
wrote
right.
this, my thought was open meeting law. That's one of the reasons why we
Right.
can't, we've got to be together in a posted meeting in order to discuss things.
Correct.
And I looked at this and I really wanted to reference that. In some cases, it's a hindrance as far as being able to communicate and not cross a line, you know?
Right, and so I've resorted to speaking with you individually for certain things, especially if they can't really wait for another meeting.
Right.
I think
But
that's
because
hard,
there's-
though. I think
it's
it's hard
very
for
hard.
you. I think that having the same conversation 3 different times can be time-consuming for you.
Of course it is, yes.
So I know it'll be rough. I'm about to start a new position, but I am amenable. If we need to have an executive session meeting, then that's what we have to do, so that we're all on the same page, and then you're saving time by not having to reiterate the same points or have the same conversation 3 separate times as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Goulart, because it's a concern of mine as well. I just try to balance it.
We've got to be able to give you direction, and we don't, and you shouldn't feel like you're floundering, because, you know, does the whole board feel that way, or
Right.
whatever, so, whatever.
Thank you.
The next category is leadership and managerial effectiveness. Gains employees' trust and respect, develop employees as individuals and as team members, assisting, training, and guiding them. When appropriate, effectively delegates tasks, serves as an example of a team player, is sensitive to the goals and objectives of peers, supervisors, and the town itself. Effectively manages, motivates, and develops staff to meet established individual and selectmen goals. My comment is Ms. Aristine spends a fair amount of time with the different departments heads, providing guidance and support. She is well respected with the town employees. She has improved the way the town reviews budgets, and the process has enabled us to get a very accurate picture of the town's financial needs, and I gave her a score of 5.
Under leadership and managerial effectiveness, my comments were, Mallory has gained most employees' trust and respect through being fair and impartial in all dealings. She has an open door policy. She routinely meets with both union and non-union employees to discuss concerns and also areas for improvement. Mallory leads by example and sets high standards for all town employees to follow, and I gave her a 4.
And on this one, leadership and managerial effectiveness, I gave her a 3. Comments. Gaining trust is a process that ebbs and flows depending upon what the issue is and how many employee or groups of employees are affected. The work environment is not uniform in that there are elected employees who are independent from the town administrator, union employees covered by collective bargaining agreements who report to department heads, and those employees who are under the control of the selectmen and have individual employment contracts. In this environment, creating a team that follows one leader is difficult. Creating a manageable work group is more likely and achievable because these are not peers, they are colleagues. Personalities come into play, and it takes time for working relationships to evolve.
Again, on this
You wanna
comment,
make a comment?
I do. I just don't really understand what you're, and it doesn't have to be here. We can have a conversation. This is an area that I desire to be a 5 or a 4 at, so if I can improve in any way, I want to know how and what to work on. So I don't really have that from these specific comments, so if we could have a conversation about it.
Whenever
and
you
then-
want to meet.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, we've been
I
seeing
like
each
this.
other a lot
No, I like
lately,
this.
so
This is good.
sure we could.
No, it's good to have this open door policy. One thing, and I do need to resend you mine, I apologize, I can't math even with a calculator. I put a score in but didn't include number 8, so I will resend that for you for your file.
Thank you.
So number 8 is goals, and what happens is that the town administrator comes up with 2 goals for herself, I believe, and then the Board of Selectmen comes up with 2 goals that they would like her to achieve. I believe the Board of Selectmen only gave you 1 goal, is that?
We three instead
So
of
at the
4.
time, you
Oh,
weren't
you.
with us, so there were the 2 of the, Selectman Goulart, Selectman Zagrafis, and myself. We had a 4th that was actually developing this evaluation process, and the board said, you know what, we'll do that one. It ended up getting completed anyway, so everything worked out, and then I did my 3. But for this coming year, it's 4. I put together a separate sheet of all of yours that compiled this together, plus my own, and we'll have to, not we, you, will have to vote on them.
You have that for us tonight, or?
Yes.
Okay. So I gave you a score of 3 on the different goals, so the MCPPO training, I assume that's procurement training, is that?
Yes,
Okay.
and I have my certificate, I'm
Is that
all
framed yet?
certified. It is, hanging up. Thank you
And
to
a
Karen,
policy
she
manual
did it.
review, gave you yes, and a revamped budget process, yes, so a score of 3. I think everybody gave you a score of
Yep.
3.
Yep.
3. And here, this is a list of what our town administrator comprised for next year's goals.
So for the scoring, I gave you a score of 37, total score. Am I able to give yours, what you gave your self-evaluation? Am I able to?
Sure.
Okay. She gave herself a score of 34. I'm not sure if anybody else wants to share their,
Yes, mine was actually 34, so great minds think alike.
That's
I looked at yours and couldn't figure the math.
Because it wasn't correct. I cheated her out of 3 points, I apologize. I do
Yeah.
want to make a comment.
My total score was, let me get to the back page. By the way, we could assign these.
I was gonna do the signature one once this was created.
Okay, are we gonna each meet with you individually and sign them our own, or how do you?
I'm trying
it's
to mull
really up
over how to
you.
do this. They'll all go together, and then I'll just, we can
Could
sign
we
this.
just redo like once we come to a consensus tonight, redo the performance evaluation form, and then have the two that we decide on under evaluators' goals or like board's goals, and then 3 signature lines for the 3 evaluators,
Right.
and then your signature line, I
Right.
think might be the best.
And then, but I think Selectman Goulart might be talking about the actual scores and evaluations.
Oh, okay.
So I was
Yeah,
thinking of like an
exactly.
average, I don't know. I have to like mull this over about how I'm gonna present that. Obviously, the comments are what are important to me.
Okay.
The average is gonna be exactly what because his is
We found
37,
34,
yours is
yeah.
31, mine is 34, so I think the average is 34. But then
So
again, I can't add, so.
I'll
Your
do
math is
something where it
correct.
shows all of
Your
the
math is correct.
scores, like a cover sheet, I guess, to the evaluation.
What I was
and that would-
referring to was, we each did these.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of us should sign their own form, and you
Right.
should sign it. So that,
Right.
what's in the file, I mean, yeah, it can be summarized, but we
Individual
should
one.
sign these.
Okay,
yeah, I signed mine.
Okay.
I did mine electronically.
Yeah, my total score was 31.
Okay, so for,
Where's the average? That's right.
We're
I'm
right
pretty
on,
spot on.
right on target.
Still
so goals for
perfect.
the upcoming review period.
So my goals were to develop a business guide for Dayton. That's something that we've actually spoken about previously. And really, it's a how-to guide for if you want to open a business in Dayton, where do you need to go and who do you need to see? Develop an organizational chart for Dayton. I think it would be helpful. A lot of people are new to town. We have a lot of new individuals and we have a lot of boards. And sometimes it's interesting to see just how much it takes to run a town, even a small one like Dayton. I don't know if you
So-
want to do your own goals, I'm sorry.
Sure. I'll just be very quick. My goals are sort of based on one is based on last year's goal, sort of like following up on that, and then one is something you're already doing. So the first one is to complete the Town of Dayton Policy Manual, and we've already been doing that sort of as we went, and then distribute that to all employees. And then 2 was to complete all network services updates, including the new town email addresses.
So that is actually already done.
Okay,
All the
Firewalls-
email addresses are done?
I'm gonna tell everybody at the
Oh,
department
okay.
head meeting tomorrow, and then Chris Rauner will go around getting everybty on board.
Okay, so I'm gonna cross
So
that
that one
off.
is completed. Look, we're so efficient, we're a
Right.
year ahead.
We should have put it in, no?
Let's a throwaway, yeah.
Well, but we're down to, well, yeah, we're down to what, we got 4,
Right,
the
so,
board, that is.
right. My thought is that we all do one, 4 goals, everybody one. but if-
I just wanted to say, Mr. Chairman, I actually almost put yours, and it was also something that the town accountant, had felt very strongly about. I always agreed with
Yeah.
her, so it's a good segue for you.
Yeah,
so my, yes, so my goal is to set up a process to monitor and track all town assets.
I love it.
I think the tracking is in place, it's the monitoring.
Right,
The tracking
She's
is
got
in
the
it.
fixed asset inventory,
yes,
but, and she, as things were purchased or disposed of, she would,
she adds at year end.
yes.
So it's my understanding she has like a folder right now of all the things that need to be done. Vehicles are one thing that I'm in on because of insurance and
Right.
things. So she has that, but the auditors are telling us that there's some special, literally this came up yesterday, so very timely. But the auditors are saying that it's done on a special program, which I'm unaware of because everything Jen ever sent me was in Excel, so I don't know why this would be any different. And that newer computers don't handle that program anymore. So I have to vet that out. I don't know if you know anything about that,
I was
but
just gonna say, I hope this isn't the old state system, because we had at UMass, the fixed asset inventory acquired with grant funding was part of my assignment, and it was difficult working with, I'll just say difficult working with those records.
yeah. So hopefully it's all been into it in
But-
Excel, but.
I'm not sure, Mr. Chairman, what you had envisioned for this. What I had envisioned for it is, when we say monitor, I mean like, this iPad, for example, should have like a town of Dayton,
Barcode,
something
yeah.
with a barcode.
Barcode, right.
And then, so it's not like manually, like, that takes a lot of work, like I'm sure the town accountant spent a lot of time like manually deleting things from Excel and like all that. I mean, yeah, having some sort of barcoded, I don't know, for lack of a better word, stamp that says
That
town of
sticks
Dayton,
right
et
on it.
cetera.
They have labels that you scan when
Label,
you
thank you.
So
inventory.
my hope actually was to reach out to Chris Rauner once he's done, doing everything for us, which is very soon, and ask him what he knows, like who he knows about how to get some sort of system in place, because I will fail. I will not be able to
It's not
go into
possible.
Excel and delete and do all sorts of
I
things.
know we also had the labels, I don't know if they were stuck on with Gorilla Glue or what, but they had to be special so that they couldn't be removed,
Right.
the inventory labels.
Exactly.
Because that's another, in a large organization, that's
Right.
another issue.
Right. Well, we have laptops and things that are
Exact-
mobile, so
we've
it's
gotten a lot
definitely
more
something.
technology.
Yeah, it's
My,
something.
I guess my point is I have felt strongly about this one, so I definitely am gonna support, that this be one of them. I do think it's very important, especially as we go forward and we get even more technology.
my
Mrs.
two,
Goulart?
develop a bylaw with the bylaw, now that we have a bylaw committee, for maintenance of unaccepted roads. And this, there was an attempt of this, but the language wasn't exactly right for town meeting, so it didn't get approved. This came out of the discussion that relates to the park, and we told the people down there we would put this in writing. We're doing it, and this relates to the 4-inch snow rule.
Right.
And also the people up on Winfield Lane, who are up in a similar. So anyhow, that's just a follow-up to get that done. As I said, we attempted it once, so we get some basic wording. We just gotta fine tune it, so we can get it passed at town meeting. And the other one, develop an evaluation process for union employees. Mrs. Aaronstein and I have talked, that was one of the discussions we had when we were looking at this professional evaluation form that you actually used this time. It wouldn't be quite like that. And the other thing too is we would have to obviously involve the unions in all of that. But, and I don't know if it can be accomplished in 1 year, but at least if we can start somewhere. But anyhow,
We actually have this, if you recall, we talked about this in relation to the clerical union, so I still have those.
yeah.
I kind of don't want you to give me that as a goal, because I feel like I've already done it a little bit, so I don't want to, I guess, cheat.
Well, I don't think it's,
But you do, no.
Yeah.
I don't think it's cheating, because some work's been done on the bylaw too, but we know it's gotta be fine-tuned.
Yeah.
So the evaluation that we're talking about, yeah, there was discussion, there's background information. I think in the long run, it's gonna be a more difficult process to institute than what we've done and what
Oh,
we've arrived at
absolutely,
tonight. Because we've
absolutely.
gotta deal with separate unions. But if we could, even if we just get one particular union, that we can get
Yeah.
a process in place.
Well, and it's just to develop it, right? Because
Right.
I don't want to, like, not get my goal accomplished
Because
because
they-
the union didn't agree,
Correct.
So,
Also, I feel like,
develop is a good word.
So if we're all gonna pick out one goal, what would be the goal then, Mrs. Goulart, that you wanna pick out?
Well, we've
those
only
two?
got 4 left, haven't we?
If you don't want my
But-
goals,
but the
I'm
board-
not, like,
no, I
married to
actually
them.
really,
No, I think you're.
I like yours. I like your two I would keep even if they didn't come from you. I really like them. I think, well, no, people have discussed like, and I want to be clear. So when you say business guide, even though I support these, I just need a clarification. I don't just envision like marketing materials, I also envision like, here's the process. Oh, you want to open a restaurant? Here's the steps.
Like,
You're
you
going to call
need to
this person,
see-
that person. I think we've
That's
needed
what
that
it
for
is.
like a very long
That's
time,
what
so I
it
really
is.
like that.
And,
I think it's an extension of Dayton 101,
yeah,
in paper form, or printed,
for the business
or
side of
electronic
things,
form.
yeah.
That, especially new residents coming into town, who do
Well, it
I
would've been like
contact about a
this-
certain
For
thing?
the 1712 folks, right? Like, we could have said, this is what you need for everything that you're gonna do, and they could have picked and chosen from the list, oh, I wanna do this, I wanna do this, I wanna do this, and they would have it right there of who they needed to see. And it gives them, I'm not saying that they didn't do that, I'm just making them up as
Right,
an
right.
example. But it gives them some organization of doing all of this stuff simultaneously. You know, when you open a business or you're being permitted by all these boards, a lot of times you're doing it, really, you've got a meeting one week with the Board of Health, and you got another meeting with the Selectmen. So you do see various components of government
So if I understand this correctly,
bodies. I can't speak.
we are now, so there are 4 goals. We're going to use the employees' 2 goals. So we still have 2 left, correct? Is my math correct? Okay. Me personally, Mr. Chairman, I think that the town administrator has gone through leaps and bounds to do that review of our policies last year. So I'm going to stick by, for my 2, complete the Town of Dayton Policy Manual and distribute to all employees with also, as you know, like, you know how we do that with like
New hire.
anti-harassment and
Oh,
like you
yeah.
sign the acknowledgement. And I'm also going to stand by yours, Mr. Chairman, which is to set up a process to monitor and track all town assets. I think those are 2 really important ones. But I look forward to hearing what everyone thinks.
Of the 2 that I listed, because we have had, let me say, more discussion on the evaluation of employees, that, as you said, maybe you didn't want to cheat.
Yes, I don't.
That can still continue behind the scenes as part of general collective bargaining discussions. So I would go with develop the bylaw for the minimum maintenance, because that goes back to 2017, I think. And I think it was Attorney Gay said, he's the one that said we needed to do it. And we said, we're already doing it. And he said, you need to have the bylaw. So I think we should focus on that. And also to protect the town, and also Mr. Ferry will have the bylaw behind him. So that's the one I would pick that one.
So how do you feel about 5 goals?
I'm okay with 5 goals, just lighten the, no, I'm just kidding.
So,
I'm good with 5 goals.
I just wanted to be-
I plan on the bylaw one, we did try, Selectman Goulart is completely correct, we did try to do it, we ran it by town council, he gave us some, feedback on it, and, you know, life happened, other things happened, so I can, pretty much accomplish, I feel confident I can accomplish all of these. If I were to drop one on
But does
mine,
it say 4 in your contract?
it does say 4 in my contract.
So I think we should just do 4, and I think we should pick.
So if
I just want to be clear with mine. I'm not saying, complete to me doesn't mean, because we'll always be developing policies. So at some point, I just mean the ones we already have need to be put in like a manual form and then attach the acknowledgement sheet. And then we'll always be adding stuff. I apologize.
It's okay. I was just gonna say, if I only picked one, I would actually choose the business guide, because I'm trying to focus on economic development, so.
But I think an
If I only got
organizational
one.
chart is
Yeah,
actually a
it's pretty
really good
necessary.
idea
Yeah.
for even other town employees who might have questions. There have been times I didn't know which department that I needed to contact regarding stuff, so.
Well,
I like that.
we can ask her, Mallory, to attempt to get one of these goals, but we don't have to mandate as part of the evaluation process. So you've got 2, I think, just so that we each feel like we have some input on this, if we each pick one goal, and then obviously of the 2 that you've chosen, you can still go forward on yourself, but we won't necessarily be grading you or evaluating you on that, so.
Could you actually combine the organizational chart in with the business guide, so that the new person coming through the door would have the information,
Yeah,
but would also have the chart?
could be like a page
like
in the
which-
guide.
Because, again, I
It's
don't
a
care how
flow-
long
it's
you've
like
lived
a
in
flow
town,
chart.
you don't understand the difference between elected, appointed officials and turf, and what the law says, elected people, and as I said in the comment I made, this is like no organization out there in the business world, all right? You know, because you start out, actually, even within the school department, the top level is the school committee, and then you start the superintendent, and you have all of that, you can chart that easily. It's not that way in a town, because if you put at the very top the town meeting, and then Board
Right,
of
so
Selectmen.
voters, then you have all the
Town meeting
electeds.
voters, but
Yeah.
then the Board of Selectmen, it's not like the superintendent where everything falls under that.
Right.
Because of
Right.
whatever, just
So
a
I want to
thought.
wrap this up, because we have a lot of stuff left on the
So my
agenda.
goal is now going to be something like develop a business guide for Dayton, including an organizational chart.
Okay,
I like that. You know mine, Mr. Chairman, to complete the manual.
right, and Mrs. Goulas develop a bylaw for the bylaw committee for maintenance and unaccepted town roads, and mine is to set up a process to monitor and track all town assets.
I like
I'll
it.
entertain a motion.
I'm, Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Is there a
Second.
To approve
Yep.
those
As our
four.
goals, yep.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you
we-
for the kind comments.
Thank you.
We should also, just one last thing, Mr. Chairman, we should be cognizant of the fact that, like, some of these goals might cost money. And she should not be, like, if we need to do a new inventory software, like, that would,
This
I'm
one
just
is
saying, we
gonna
need to
cost
be
money.
mindful
This,
of that.
this one is, the other stuff I can do me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Serpent assists in those business guides, so, the one that will cost money is to monitor and track the town assets, but
Thank you.
It's
Well, I
not.
was- Yeah,
It's
but
not.
that's a goal that I asked of you. I'm hoping you set up a whole program in the computer to monitor all
You're not a
these.
software engineer?
let's get Chris Rauner to help me.
So,
What do we do with these now?
I'm gonna put it back
Those are
in.
for you.
Oh,
The originals will go, along with my self-evaluation, and then once I do up this, you know, without my writing on it, and that they're signed, we will put in my personnel record.
Okay.
I need to resend yours and then I'll sign it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I do appreciate very much, the
I
comments.
thought the process went well. Okay, on the old business, the next item is B, reading, the first reading of the town property rental policy.
We did it. We compiled this finally. I did shoot this over to Jim Aguirre as the facilities manager. He, you know, agreed with everything. This would be our first reading, and then next week, or I'm sorry, next meeting, we will include the fee schedule. We do have a schedule of fees. I'd like you to review that next meeting and then be prepared to vote on it as a whole together collectively for the third reading, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Okay.
So I'll read the first page. This is a policy on reservation and use of town facilities upon approval. Background is the town of Dayton allows the private and public use of town-owned facilities, including the field behind Town Hall, Old Town Hall Meeting Room, Town Hall Meeting Rooms for use and / rental to nonprofit or commercial groups or individuals for meeting or programs of an educational, informational, or cultural nature, or other events as approved by the town administrator. Purpose and applicability. The purpose of this policy is to establish perimeters for use of the town facilities to ensure safety for all and to uphold the integrity of town property. This policy shall govern the use of town-owned buildings and parcels, including but not limited to Town Hall, Old Town Hall, the Pavilion, and the Carl K. Spratt Memorial Field behind Town Hall. This policy does not address school buildings. The policy. 1, subject to availability, consistent with the needs of the town and requests of the public and at the discretion of the town administrator, the following facilities are available for use reservation to nonprofit organizations, commercial groups, and individuals. Carl K. Spratt Memorial Field, Town Hall Meeting Rooms, Old Town Hall Meeting Rooms, Pavilion, Contact Lions Club member Carl Stornstrom. 2, political groups and functions are not eligible for reservation. 3, the use of any of the above-mentioned facilities for municipal purposes will take precedence over all other reservations. If the town cancels a reservation, every effort will be made to provide as much advance notice as possible. A refund will be issued if a fee has been paid in advance. 4, the Board of Selectmen shall establish a fee schedule for rental of the facilities governed by this policy and shall update and amend as necessary from time to time. 5, inquiries for reservations may be made in person at the Board of Selectmen's office or by mail, email, / email to boardofselectmen@townofdayton.com.
That will have to be changed.
gonna just
I was
I
just
wrote
gonna
it down.
say.
The
It
short-
routes there though anyway.
It will,
Short-term
yes.
use of field or park space in the town must be approved in advance by the Park and Recreation Commission subject to any terms or conditions that deemed appropriate. You want to continue, Mr. Severafis?
Yeah. Number 6, an authorized representative of the town or organization must complete a request for use of facility form enclosed herein, outlining all event details to be signed by designated public officials. The individual signing the form must be 18 years of age or older and shall be responsible for the conduct of the group and the protection of the town property. Said representative will be required to sign an indemnification agreement with the town of Dayton for a scheduled event. Said agreement shall state, I agree to indemnify and save harmless the town of Dayton and its employees, elected and appointed officials, and agents from any and all liability from claims of bodily injury, property damage, or any other nature whatsoever arising out of the use of town of Dayton properties herein specified. I have received a copy of the policy on reservation and use of town property and agree to abide by all the rules and regulations formulated by the Board of Selectmen and its agents for the use of buildings and facilities, and to adhere to all specifications and limits listed. 7, applications for permits to conduct permitted activities on town property shall be filed no later than 30 days prior to the requested date for said use. Late or incomplete applications will be considered at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen. 8, applications must be accompanied by a certificate of liability insurance in the amount of $1 million per occurrence / $3 million aggregate with the town of Dayton named as an additional insured valid for the date of the event. The insurance requirement may be waived by a vote of the Board of Selectmen. 9, police and or fire details may be required by the town to be paid for by the applicant. Contact the police chief and or fire chief for more information. 10, only service animals shall be admitted on town property, including outdoor fields. Pets, on or off leash, are not allowed. 11, large-scale events, i.e. events with 50 or more attendees require a parking plan. Terms and conditions of use. 1, users must leave the facility and all furnishings as they found it. Users may be charged fees to cover costs for damages or cleaning. Reimbursement is required for any damage by the user or users caused other than normal wear. 2, users must remove all trash and recycling on the same day as the event. The town does not employ a full-time custodian, and other events may be scheduled to use the facility shortly after a user's allotted time. If town offices are closed, please contact the Communications Center at 508-669-6711 with any problems. And 3, no alcohol is permitted. I did just want to mention, I think somewhere in here, or maybe in our minds, we need to consider the fact that we should do some sort before an event of some assessment of the property before it's used in case something happens.
A walkthrough.
Because we would, if not, we're not able to prove really that it was damaged. Someone can say it was like
A
that.
joint or walkthrough or inspection.
Correct.
They-
Yeah,
they-
I don't know what the language
Somebody
would
from the
be.
organization's gotta be there too.
I agree.
So we don't have,
So I'm gonna put
Even
that,
doing it together, I like that idea. The renter or rentee
right,
and I was actually
and
a
a
representative
town,
of the town.
yeah, facilities manager. I don't know who it would be. I don't know what
Well,
language.
Sorry, Jim, we're gonna give you another job. It would be the facilities manager or another representative of the town, you know, if he's on vacation or something. I'm gonna put that in as like
Does the board
number
agree? I don't
7.
want to put that
Oh,
in
no,
if
I-
not.
No, it's
Absolutely.
actually a mistake. It was, you had brought it up, Selectman Goulart, previously, and it's supposed to have been in here. So I'm gonna put it in right under number 6. I'm gonna make it a new number 7.
I didn't mean to mess up the mojo. Sorry.
Oh, you did.
Mess up the mojo.
Mrs. Goulart, you want to continue?
number
Page 3?
4, no open flames, i.e. candles, torches, etc. are allowed. Chafing trays with sternos are allowed. Number 5, exits and entrances must be kept clear. Tables must be a minimum of 6 feet from exits and entrances. Number 6, suggested decorations include table centerpieces, plants, flowers, and/or balloons. All decorations must be fire-resistant. Decorations, banners, signs, and other similar items shall not be affixed to walls. Rice, confetti, mylar cutout shapes, and other similar items must not be used as decorations in or outside the building. A $25 fee shall apply if those items are used. The use of duct tape and tacks to affix decorations is prohibited. A $50 fee shall apply for painting/repair in case of the use of duct tape or tacks. Number 7, no live trees or shrubs are allowed, including Christmas trees. Number 8, the town of Dayton is a tobacco-free facility. There is no smoking inside the buildings. Smoking must be 10 feet away from all entrances and exits so as to prevent smoke from entering buildings. Should we comment that butts should be disposed of, and are we gonna have containers out there? Just a thought.
We have one container, here. I don't know if, I'm like going to Old Town Hall in my mind, I don't know if there's one over there.
I've never seen
I
one.
don't
Never
believe
seen
there
it either.
is. I almost don't want to include that language simply because I don't, like, I would rather have someone think you can't smoke on the property than see a butt tray and then be
Right.
encouraged to smoke.
So-
But we also don't want
Well,
litter.
Well, if
so-
they're out on the field and they're smoking a cigarette, they're 10 feet from the building, and where do you think they're gonna put it when they finish smoking it?
I actually wish we could say no smoking allowed, but
On
we
town
can't.
property?
Right.
Cause that's I think it's a MGL, right? Isn't
What do
it
you
a
mean?
Mass General Law? A state law of some
No,
sort?
I mean, we could say that for our property, but we do have some,
We have
employees who
employees
smoke
that
and
smoke,
they go out
so that's
and-
another problem, so. Okay, number 9.
Well, so do we wanna include that? I'm sorry.
Well, I think we need to think about it.
Okay. I see both sides, honestly.
If
We don't want
if we
litter.
say they have to dispose of the butts in receptacles, that will allow them to smoke away from the building and on the field. Getting to put the butts, if they're way out on the field, in a receptacle is another issue. But certainly at the pavilion and the old town hall, I think there should be a receptacle somewhere between those two buildings, because if they're out there smoking, it's not like they gotta walk across the field to get to a receptacle, you know?
I'm kind of, we're
And when you
in
say
conflict
recep-
with each other, we're in conflict by saying the town of Dayton is a tobacco-free facility.
Well, I mean, you
Facility,
can't
like the
smoke in any
field-
buildings.
The field is included as the facility in this. So we should just say there's no smoking on the field. You wanna smoke, you have to go to,
Designated
A designated area.
Tough one to enforce.
I
What
also.
do you think of the crowds at Cow Chip and the
Although
Christmas?
I don't remember seeing anybody smoke, but, I mean, I'm only there during the day, I'm not there at night.
Well, you're focused on the cows too, so.
Right.
Just,
It's important
I can
business.
tell you, after the powwow, I did go out on the field, and I did take some pictures, and there was some small amount of trash and stuff. Smoking was very evident.
Okay.
So, and as I said, I don't know how you'd police it.
Either.
It's a tough one.
I
Can
would.
you say like smoking, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Smoking is discouraged, I don't even know if you can say that. I don't think you can say that.
I just would ask that if we do decide to go to receptacles, it not be like a can. It needs to be, my work had them, they're like, these like structures, it's like I don't wanna say a pole, but
It's
it looks
like
like
a
a
pillar.
pole.
It looks
And
like a
then it
pillar.
has like a place where you like put it
I
out,
know
so
what
you're
you
not
mean.
like lighting things on fire, on accident.
We actually should replace this one, because I went to a meeting early on in my career here and it was on fire.
Yes, that's what happens,
was
when
on
you
fire.
can't like put it out.
Yeah. There are those things that you drop them in, and they go down into like a chute or something, and if they smolder, they finally go up. You know,
Oxygen.
Brigham and Women's has posted signs outside the hospital on all the buildings. This is a smoke-free area, please respect, da-da-da-da. I've seen people out on the sidewalk where the sign is smoking, and then the butt goes on the sidewalk because they don't consider the street and the sidewalk Brigham property.
it probably isn't.
Yeah, it's a
Probably
city
bonus.
street.
But they just throw it on
Uh-huh,
the street.
but they're leaning up against the Brigham property while they're smoking. It's like, in your face.
Right.
And I look at that and say, whatever.
I think we ought to get fixed receptacles for
Excuse me,
the
I'm
cigarette
sorry.
butts, but not necessarily have it, not necessarily address it in this policy here.
Yeah, I would definitely agree
Put
with
them, and
that.
they're gonna be fixed, it can't be something that can be taken.
Correct.
So,
I like that,
We could
Mr.
say,
Chairman.
and something about prevent smoke from entering buildings, and something about use of provided, receptacles?
Receptacles.
properly dispose of your Say what's-
Yeah, whatever,
I was
something
gonna say,
like
but
that.
shall be disposed of properly.
Number 9, no fog machines or fake smoke machines are allowed. Pyrotechnic displays or sparking devices are prohibited. Now, unless specifically allowed by the board, because the Lions Club
Fireworks.
does have this, so.
Gosh, the cow chip is killing me. Yep.
When we had the anniversary celebration, there were fireworks too. So it would be
So,
specific permission from the Board of Selectmen for a certain
And
event.
they get a permit, like the fire chief has to sign off, and then the state, there's something special about
And
this.
they book it a year in advance.
Yes.
I would
Alright,
agree with
so-
that, just tidy it up with,
Yeah,
with,
unless
like,
approved by
unless
the Board of
approved by,
Selectmen.
or at the discretion
Yeah.
of the Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen.
Select board, yep.
All right, unless improved by.
Because it seems to me for the anniversary celebration, the committee got special permission from the board and then followed all the fire regulations and stuff.
So we're gonna have to include that in this because it says it's prohibited, so we have to have some exception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
special permission,
Leeway.
permission from the Board
Yep.
of Selectmen. Number 10, permits are required for temporary signs, and in some cases, tents. No signs are allowed on public property without prior approval by the Board of Selectmen. 11, children must be directly supervised at all times. Number 12, when booking a DJ for party functions, music and entertainment must be kept at a reasonable level. In some cases, an entertainment license will apply, which requires additional permitting. What is that?
So if you are having a barbecue, a chicken barbecue, and you wanna have a DJ there, that's an entertainment license. Which you
Oh, like the
provide.
veterans, the Vietnam veterans do.
Right.
Okay, all right. 13, the town is not responsible for the loss or damage to any person or the property of any user or of any individual attending the event. That's a tough one. The town is not responsible for the loss or damage to any person. Yeah, we get liability insurance. We can't, that needs work. Maybe the insurance company can give you some advice, but we can't deny responsibility. I mean,
Well, can we, I think in this case, damage to any person is talking about like losing, not like yourself or a person, but like damages you sustained. But you know what, Joe Bickle's gonna
personal
be here tomorrow,
property
I'll ask
maybe.
him.
We
Yeah.
can say, we're not responsible for personal
Personal
damage to
property.
personal property. If somebody breaks in your car and steals your computer, we're not responsible for that.
Well, can it just say that, damage to any personal property, instead of or the personal property?
Yeah, if we
That's
leave
what I'm
out
gonna do.
any person, yeah, to
So,
personal property.
Any personal
Everybody
property.
sort of has that.
I would just not even say, I would just say, or damage to the property of any user, and then just delete those couple words. Just easier for you.
Damage to the property, yep, easy peasy.
Yeah, if we take out the person part, personal property, yeah, I think that'll work. Number 14, no views expressed by private individuals or groups using public property shall be considered the view of the town, and the permit holder shall post a sign stating so if any position or statement is being made to the public during the license period. Didn't we prohibit political type things?
Right, but if somebody said like, we love animals, I'm totally making this up, I love animals, and we didn't agree, you know, we
Oh.
don't
Who
wanna.
wouldn't agree?
I know, I love animals, I have a dog, I know, it's the only thing I could think of.
Chickens, I have chickens, I have a dog.
We
I have a
love to
cat.
farm,
We have
you
two
know, we
cats.
love to farm.
Okay, I came up with another one for you to consider, number 15. No drones unless separate specific request is made at the time of booking.
And authorized
The
by.
town reserves the right to deny permission for drones, or revoke such permission at its discretion. My concern is that, and this isn't directed at the Aggie School,
No,
but we have public playgrounds, and if somebody started taking pictures of your children, all right, or if you catch them with a phone, that's not allowed. And if somebody has a drone up, My main concern is, I don't want anyone photographing children on the playground.
Right.
Creepy.
Can I have a copy of that?
Yeah, I'll give you this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
And then I put, I know you referenced they have to have a parking plan. In 16, I put parking in designated areas only. You know how some people park all over the lawn and,
Like Main Street, Lanefield.
and of course, they had the signs to protect the chestnut trees.
Oh, that's right.
And then it goes on to fees. All fees are payable in advance. Town employees pay the resident rent per the schedule of reservation fees. The Board of Selectmen may waive any reservation fee at their discretion, at its discretion.
Oh, yeah.
See attached fee schedule for reservation rates. There shall be a $25 fee for return checks, cancellation. A cancellation fee shall apply if a group cancels within 1 week of the event, and there is a $15 with notice of cancellation 1 week in advance, a $75 with notice of cancellation less than 1 week in advance, full rental fee if notice received less than 24 hours in advance of the event or no-show. And we should just say, you know what, if they have to cancel because of bad weather, we gotta have some kind of thing about acts of nature. That, you know,
Oh, yeah, so, we should say a cancellation fee may apply,
yeah,
may apply.
because.
I like that. That's
Remember the
flexibility.
year, I think you were on the board, we got such a howling rainstorm on Memorial Day, in Rehoboth, the parade was here. We canceled everything and we crammed
Yeah.
into the pavilion just to have a ceremony. And some Rehoboth officials came and the pavilion was filled with basically officials, but we wanted to observe the holiday. So that's what happened, and it was one of these things that came out of the blue,
Brainstorm,
like,
yeah.
you know.
I think,
Thank you.
before we move on, on number 8, where it says there is no smoking inside the buildings, I would add no smoking or vaping, just to be clear, since those are
Two separate entities.
nicotine products as well.
Yep, that's fine
Thank
with
you.
me.
I do want some clarification on number 8 on the policy. What is the cost of that insurance?
Oh, on the, page 2, number 8?
Yeah.
It depends, but a day is like $175 if you have 1 day insurance.
So
But also
anybody,
depends what you're doing. I mean, this is a bad example because we're not allowing alcohol, but if you have to go get if you're having an event with alcohol, you are beholden to certain rates, so it might be more than the $175, but. And that's
Yeah.
just one, I don't know everybody's rates, but I had checked for somebody and it was $175.
There are some insurance companies also, that if, I don't know how to put this. Let me just say that there are some agencies that don't charge you the fee to get the certificate because you have your insurance for the whole year, you renew every year, you've been a customer for a while, and you go to them and say, hey, I'm having an event at the pavilion. I need a statement from you listing the town as also insured, and they just issue it. Other places charge fees to issue that certificate, even though you've been a customer for many years. But most organizations would have the coverage. And I would think
Automatically, right.
individuals, I would check with my homeowners and say, hey, I want to have a family reunion at the pavilion, and I want to know what kind of coverage I got. Or should I buy a special one-time policy,
You should buy a special one-time policy because you don't want anyone taking your house over your family reunion at the pavilion.
Well, they wouldn't take mine anyhow, it's in
Well,
trust.
not yours, but just so everyone knows,
But
go get your own policy.
No, yeah, but I would check with, yeah, if it were not an organization, an individual, somebody wants to have a wedding reception.
Right.
You know, the ceremony in the gazebo and the barbecue, yeah, I would certainly check.
Thank you,
This is a
Madam
good start,
Administrator.
very good. Would you
Thank
pass
you
that
very
to
much.
Mallory, because I
Yes.
still have some
Thank you,
stuff
Steph.
on there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, moving right along. Under new business, award surge contracts for catch basin cleaning.
This is a little bit in addition to what you've previously awarded. It's a special request. Tom Ferry reached out, they extended the price to us, and this requires a vote from you. It's for catch basin structures. We got a lot of them, and he's going to work to replace them.
Okay, it says cleaning on the agenda. It's not cleaning. We have a truck that does that. This is
Inside, right, but I think he, oh, I wish he was here, because he told me that it would make more sense for this particular job, not this, but for the particular job he has in mind to go out, for an outside vendor due to the workload that they have, but,
To do the cleaning and
do
repairs?
the cleaning and the repairs.
It's like remodeling, it
It's
looks
like fixing the actual thing.
Is,
So this
Does-
is just to rebuild them. So this isn't actually cleaning them, this is like to put
Yeah.
the structures in there.
Well, it says adjust, and it also says remodel. Am I looking at the right thing?
the agenda says basin cleaning.
Oh, that might
We have
just
a truck
be-
that does cleaning.
That might just
Right, so
be,
this is the actual catch basin,
Correct.
like the grate part, it's
Right.
fixing them up.
So I think the agenda item is supposed to be catch basin repairs or replacement.
Yes,
remodeling, yeah.
repair, rebuilding, replacement, improving.
Improvements, love it. And Madam Administrator, before we make any motions, in the motion to approve this, the total would be $26,437.50? Okay, just making sure. Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's fine. I'll entertain a motion if there's no more questions.
Selectman Goulart?
Mr. Chairman, just procedurally, do we award the bid to Tasco, or do we act to accept the bid
As presented?
price as submitted, as obtained by Sursage?
Either. You could say award the bid to Tasco Construction
Mhm.
Inc. from Belmont, Massachusetts, in the amount of block,
Yeah, we
26,000
usually do
as
that,
presented.
Selectman Goulart.
So, and one other clarification, these items that are listed that total to 26, these are the ones that Mr. Ferry wants done?
No, this is them, telling you what they offer, so all of their,
Okay.
like, menu of items, how much it costs. But he's given estimated quantities, and it looks like he's getting 40.
So, Mr. Ferry estimates that for 40 units to be repaired or replaced, it's 26,000 and change. Is that what we think?
That is what the bid has come in at for
Okay.
doing what he needs to do. So you'll see there's like 15 for this
Yeah,
structures adjusted, 15 for remodeled, and 10 for rebuilt.
Okay.
So they're all at different stages
Okay.
of decay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we award the bid to Tasco Construction Incorporated of Belmont, Mass, based on the Sursage solicitation. The following: 15 structures to be adjusted, the cost of $8,325. 15 structures to be remodeled at a cost of $12,562.50. And 10 structures to be rebuilt at a cost of $5,550 for a total of $26,437.50, based on the recommendation of Mr. Ferry.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it. Can you sign
And
this,
if that's not correct, Mr. Ferry, you can let us know.
please? He's sleeping now. Approved end of the year budget transfers.
The finance committee met and have already approved these transfers. They met on Monday morning.
Mr. Chairman,
Want to give this to Karen, please?
I move that we approve the transfer of $5,000 from the primetime salary account 010-542-50-5105 to the Council on Aging salary account, Department 010-541-50-5105, as requested.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the transfer of $2,300 Are these multiple transfers?
They did look like it.
So
It looks like there's two,
The total is 2,300 down at the bottom, but let me just.
but the account numbers are different, which I think is why she's asking, and it does look like two separate, right? Two separate, under use of funds.
So,
They
One
total
is for the
2,300, but
salary
they-
and
they
one's for
broke- right.
overtime, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the transfer of $2,300 from 433 Waste Collection and Disposal Landfill Recyclery 5303, account 010-433-70. Oh, that's the 5303. Karen, that account number is 010-433-70-5303. To Department 510 Board of Health, Salary Health Agent, account 010-510-50-5105, in the amount of $850,
I
and
think it's-
overtime
Is
additional.
that a 6? I think it's 5106, Selectman Goulart. Am I wrong?
There's
It
an
looks like a
issue
6.
all over this. So,
Because he keeps making that mark after the last number,
like a dash.
so that
yeah.
looks
So
like a
it's
6 to me.
But if the finance committee wrote in the wrong area, they wrote action of the Board of Selectmen, and that's them, they only allowed 2,300.
That's all they were asking for, though.
No, they're asking for 4,600, I believe.
No,
No. It says, total amount requested to be transferred in, 2,300, and then they break it down
Yep, that's what I was doing.
into the two appropriations.
So the-
I know it's confusing,
Yeah.
and the handwriting is a little bit
There's only,
tough to
there's only,
follow.
the transferring department, there's only one account number. It's a total of $2,300, but then they're transferring to the Board of Health.
The full 2,300.
two
Oh,
different
because-
accounts.
But the breakdown is,
850 and 40, I see.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it's confusing,
Wow,
that
all right.
top line.
I'm sorry, Finance Committee, you're perfect,
Okay,
and you did
so,
it right, I'm sorry.
Mrs. Brady, so the receiving department is 510 Board of Health, Salary Health Agent, 010-510-50-5106, $850. The other receiving account is overtime additional hours, 010-510-50-5131, in the amount of $1,450.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, the ayes have
So
it.
that makes the 2,300 there. Then
and
we
the
have-
total is at the bottom, so that's how we know.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
That
No.
It was
was a
confusing.
little strange.
As many times as we've read these, and when I was on the Finance Committee, quite frankly, it was still confusing.
We have to fix our form.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the transfer of funds from Department 433 Waste Collection and Disposal, Landfill Recyclery, $1,117, account 010-433-70-5303, to receiving account 519 Board of Health Administration, Office Supplies, account 010-519-70-5420.
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye, opposed, abstention, the ayes
Is
have
that
it.
it, just three?
Yep.
I
Sign
hope.
it, three.
Not
Not
So-
too shabby. That's
And
very,
see, it
very
was a
good.
computer purchase, which is in line with your goal of needing to track everything.
The next item, under new business, appoint Jesse Biermann to the Dayton Rehoboth Regionalization Study Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Jesse Biermann to the Dayton Rehoboth Regionalization School Study Committee for a one-year term expiring June 31st.
June 30th.
30th, there's not 31? Okay, that's a separate
Get through the
conversation.
knuckles.
2019.
Yeah, I love the knuckle thing, I do it.
You'll have to show me that after.
You don't know the knuckle trick? Oh, okay.
We haven't got time to get into it, but I just want to make a comment. She's an excellent candidate for this. Her resume is fantastic.
She also served on the study committee that was started,
The
like,
building,
my
yeah,
first day.
for the elementary
yeah.
school.
And she did great, she did a
Yeah.
great job and a very nice presentation on the modular thing.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it. Appointment of Mark Pacheco to the Bylaw Review Committee.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion based on Mr. Pacheco's volunteer information form that we appoint Mr. Mark Pacheco to the Bylaw Review Committee.
Second?
Is there a second? Any discussion?
I mean, we already have a task for you.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
I just want to say I love his comment that has no plans on ever leaving Dayton.
We like that.
We like it.
Square wheels on your car, Mr. Pacheco.
Well, I've got the same plan too. In fact, I'm gonna be buried in Dayton, so
Very
I'll never
Got
be
your
leaving.
spot already?
Yes, got my spot already. Okay, the next item is discuss change in time for regular Board of Selectmen's meeting. I believe because of Mr. Segrafis'
Yes.
new work schedule, we're gonna be asked to change our schedule, time that we start the meetings. We initially used to have it at 7:30. We changed it to 6:30. We said it'd be experimental. I've told you many times, Brett, that you don't need to be retired to be a selectman. If we have to adjust the time, we have to adjust the time because of someone's work schedule, so
But I do want to tell the public, if you are upset about the change in meeting time, you direct those emails and calls to me. It is not, it's not.
not to us.
It's not my colleagues.
It has to be.
Yes, I just want to make sure, realistically, I could probably be here by 6:30. But as we all know, especially you, Selectman Goulart, transportation to and from Boston, public
No,
transportation
no.
can be intermittent.
Spotty.
Spotty, correct. So I just want to make sure that
So what time are we looking
I'm able to be here. I don't think we need to do 7:30, I was thinking 7.
7, yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
7. So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we change the time of our regular Board of Selectmen's meetings from 6:30 PM to 7 PM going forward.
Second?
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, the ayes.
Dr. Z, I just want you to know, yeah, I on that. Just want you to know that this morning, when I put the radio on, the television, Channel 10, and they gave the traffic report, they also said the 7:30 train out of Providence was canceled, so take the 8 o'clock train. That wasn't my train anyhow, but I heard it and I was thinking, oh, where's Brett? Wait,
So I
who is
do
this?
want to tell both of you very, very quickly, I will be going to the commuter rail out of a station where the most possible trains go through, even for other lines, so that if something were to happen, I'm not taking the train out of like Wickford Junction and then only one train goes there. So I do appreciate you accommodating me very much.
You going to Canton Junction or Center?
Center. Yep, bought my parking spot.
Very good.
I hate Boston.
Probably take the train.
Correspondence. We received the correspondence from Xfinity regarding removal of the Xfinity on-demand applications for TiVo devices. I don't think I need to read the letter, but we
Nope.
did receive this.
It's just for people's information that the TiVo app's not going to have on demand.
I read it and said, who cares?
Yeah, who has that?
Well, I don't know who has TiVo still, but I remember when TiVo came out,
Me too.
how like revolutionary it was.
So on the announcements, the Community Preservation Committee will not meet in the month of July. The committee will reconvene on August 15, 2019, and will meet on the third Wednesday of each month. And B, Community Preservation Commission will also accept applications for eligibility for July 1st through November 30th going forward. Selectmen, the reports, we've already gone through 5-year wish list plans.
The only thing I have was MMA today, and we basically spent all of our time talking about the proposed legislation to institute a statewide ban on plastic bags. And they wanted us to support the speaker's plan. And at least 2 of us, my colleague from Wilbraham said, number one, we have a problem with the fact that the current legislation only allows big cities to institute cost for bags, a nickel or a dime. We do not feel that communities, 121 that have already instituted their own bans, should be told by the state, if ours passes, everything you did goes away. And we strongly feel that issue of those bags should remain a local issue, and that communities should be allowed to decide that for themselves. So we're gonna ask for more information, but we didn't vote to send a letter of support at this point, so.
I have just a quick question, Selectman Goulart. Does MMA have as an organization, as an association, do they have an opinion on whether municipalities should adopt plastic bag bans?
One of the things that they were asking us to do is to put that in writing, but we were asked to support the speaker's
Not craft your
proposal.
own? Okay.
There's already something on the books, and City of Boston has instituted a nickel ban, a fee, I call it a tax. But one of the points I made was, again, and they wanted DEP to monitor it, I said, I don't want DEP monitoring plastic bags for compliance with vendors, stores. But I said, the other thing too is, you're only allowing big cities to charge the fee, and it goes to the companies. Down our part of the state, Stop and Shop, Shaw's, Whole Foods, you name it. If you want a paper bag now, you just ask for it. Why would we want to pay a nickel for those or a dime for those? And we understand you want everyone to bring their own reusable bags. But you know what? As I said, Sue and I strongly felt that, you know what, let's leave this to the communities. Let us do this if we're gonna do it. So, as I said, there were no votes to support this at this point.
It's something I wish, just my personal opinion, that our board could have, for another night, a discussion about it and see how everyone feels. My thought on the nickel thing is, I think the whole point is that someone doesn't want to pay a nickel and then they just take the paper bag. So I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, you know more about this than me, but I don't think most municipalities look at it as like a way to get money or anything. I think the municipality, maybe I'm wrong, I guess everyone's different, but would look at it as like the least amount of revenue we bring in from that is good because.
No, we don't get the money. The vendor gets to keep the money, and that was
Correct.
my point. They're already giving us free bags. Why do we want to allow them to charge a nickel? And the whole point was, because we want you to force people to have those carry their own bags. And the thing is, if the ban goes in Boston, Macy's, it's a nickel, okay? And if you say, I'm not paying for a bag, you're expected to lug whatever you bought out of the store. But they don't want you to take a paper bag either, because that was the rest of it. You're cutting down trees to make bags.
So that's why, like, even Hannaford has those,
And-
like, reusable ones.
And then
I get it.
it ended, when it really got hot, was they got into biomass, which is what we have. We ship all our trash. So somebody from the Conservation Law Foundation wanted to know if we wanted to take action to limit the amount of credits that they get for places that use biomass. I said, wait a minute, the entire Cape and all of the southeastern part of the state where I come from, we send all our trash, biomass, to generate electricity. There was a thing on the news this weekend. I said, so if you're gonna get into that, that's a whole nother issue. I said, so, as I say,
It's a complicated issue.
It
mean,
is.
If you burn in plastic, that's not good for the environment. You can't recycle the plastic. I prefer the carry-on bags, but on occasion, we've forgotten to bring it to the
I told
market.
him, I says, the town of Dayton has even been giving away those carry bags as part of its stormwater program, so we're doing our part.
Acknowledgements. Acknowledgement of the Dayton police officers Gregory Steele, Jason McGovern, and Harbor Master Ron Marino. There was an article on June 30th in the Taunton Gazette regarding the work that the Harbor Master, more importantly, Police Officer Gregory Steele, jumping into the water to assist someone, and the quick action of Jason McGovern. It was a great article. I read it prior. We got a copy of this for our meeting, but I think the board ought to acknowledge the importance of what they had done, and significance of it.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, in that spirit, I make a motion that the board acknowledge the contributions and the heroic efforts of in this specific incident. We acknowledge you every day, public safety officers, Dayton police officers Gregory Steele and Jason McGovern, and our harbor master, Ron Marino.
Is there a
And
second?
friendly amendment, and send a letter commending them, so this is
I
a
was actually
personnel
gonna
file.
say, I'd like to request an actual commendation for Officer Steele. They get like a, what do you call it? This makes no sense, I know.
Lapel.
Like, they get the decoration, like, sort of like a medal, but,
Okay.
Yeah.
so I would like to do that. It has to go through the police chief. And unfortunately, I mean, I would have given this a little bit more pomp and circumstance if the chief is not in. So,
Well, we
I
can
don't know if
do
you
it
wanna
when-
have them in.
So,
Sure.
says, and so
Recognize
that,
them.
he gets the, I'll call it the medal, and that the other two get, a letter, recognizing
Right.
the service. Sal second the, is that friendly?
With the free, yeah,
amendment? I'll
accept
second
it. Yeah.
Thank you for sorting that out, what I
Yeah,
was trying
whatever.
to say.
Yeah,
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Thank you,
Interesting.
gentlemen.
interesting thing about the article was, when I started reading it, it talks about the, the diver scuba team in town. Didn't realize until I got into it about the event in Dayton. Wow.
Pretty quick action.
Minutes, except for review, the minutes of May 8th, 2019, and June 26th, 2019.
So
Everybody's been
moved.
given a copy of those.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of March 28th, 2018.
Second. Excuse me, so moved. My apologies.
Second, it's getting late, and he's not even working.
Yes. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, I abstain, I wasn't a member at that time, so. Approval of the minutes of March 13th, 20th, 27th, April 10th, and April 17th. I have a question, have any of these minutes been changed since we were given our draft copies of it?
Since the review.
Since we were given the,
Most of them were just minor changes, but we did have one with, some major. And that was, I don't know if Nancy wants to speak to that.
You got it, the one I marked up?
Yeah. It's this one. And tab
Thank you.
changes.
Here you go, Mr. Chairman.
so this is April 10th, you made the changes, yep.
So, would it be possible to get the other 4 meetings in a separate motion then, if that's the only,
Which meeting is in April 17th?
April 10th?
Oh, April 10th? Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of March 13th, March 20th, March 27th, and April 17th, 2019.
Second?
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it. April 10th.
Okay, so the major changes were on page 5, and this was the motion. Wait a minute.
Mr. Chairman, instead of going through it now, since we're not going to approve it tonight, do you want to just take a week or two to, and then we can just do it at the next
To go
meeting
through this,
instead?
to do it without, if you read what I
That way you
wrote,
can-
it's
Right,
it's
so
in
we should make
context.
copies of those, distribute to them,
So it's in
I'm sorry.
context, because to
Right.
try to explain it out of context, it's not gonna make any
And then,
sense.
we'll have this on the agenda for the next meeting.
Sure. And just so the public is aware, when changes are made to minutes from the draft, that does go into the final, they're all tracked. The changes are all tracked and are part of the approved minutes. So just so everyone is aware, so
We're
you
not
can
gonna vote on
follow
tonight.
how things got changed.
Okay,
So did we already take a vote on the other
yes.
4?
Yes.
Yes.
We did take a vote?
Yes.
Hold on, the keeper of the record
We
here,
did.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Let's
said
start with the
aye.
one that matters, yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion on the April 10th minutes.
Well, do you want to take
Well,
them?
we're gonna continue, we're gonna,
Yeah, so
I'll
you're
make
just,
a
so do we
motion,
have to
Mr.
make a
Chairman.
motion? Yeah.
Well,
don't.
we'll take it under advisement.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I
this
make a
point.
motion that we take the minutes of April 10th under advisement.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Karen, I don't have that list of warrants. Do you have it over there?
just a brief, if at the end of this meeting you wouldn't mind signing the warrants, Linda, finished tonight, I know, I'm sorry. You're not getting out of here.
I should have done it before the meeting like I
You didn't
normally
have
do.
them before the meeting, you didn't have them before the meeting.
It's way down in the pile.
I know you had it on a small piece of paper.
It was yellow.
I stuck it to.
There's one, there's this one.
That's the messy one. She should review that.
I knew it right when I saw it. Mr. Chairman.
I like how we all knew like a little bit about it. I said it was.
I knew
one of
nothing
those-
about it. I didn't know it was on a yellow
It's like
piece of
it's
paper. I
yellow.
didn't know where it was.
You're like, where is
The one you were looking for is not here, right?
It is on there, we did find it at the last minute, it's the number one warrant. There was only one that.
1B20?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
that's the one we're missing.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that the following warrants be approved. These are dated June 30th. 53A-19 in the amount of $106,042.25 payroll. 53B-19, the amount of $27,829.16 payroll. Warrant number 53C-19 in the amount of $120,838.46 accounts payable be approved.
second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the following warrants be approved. These are dated July the 3rd. 54A-19 in the amount of $6,568.44 payroll. 54B-19 in the amount of $106,154.39, and 54C-19 in the amount of $28.70. The last two accounts payable be approved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman, this is also dated January, no, let me start over. July 3rd,
Long night.
What's happening to us?
July 3rd. This is the first warrant of the new fiscal year. So the previous July 3rd were the last warrants of FY19. So this is the first warrant of FY20, dated July 3rd. Warrant number 1B-20 in the amount of $932,125.13. Accounts payable.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it.
The following are dated July the 10th. Warrant number 2A-20 in the amount of $87,602.32 payroll. 2B-20 in the amount of $20,725. 2C-20 in the amount of $177,574.21. And 2D-20 in the amount of $7,034 even, the last three being accounts payable, be approved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, the ayes have it. There'll be no public input since there's no public here. We will be going into executive session. We will not be returning. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr.
Second.
Chairman.
All those,
Oh, you gotta state the reason why.
Oh, to
Oh,
consider
yeah.
the purchase?
I have to,
You have to, yeah. And then
I
I'll
think
say
I'm-
so
yeah.
moved.
we're going into executive session under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 6. 6 is to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair declares that an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. This is regarding Brook Street status update.
Second.
Well, you make the motion. I made
Oh,
the
so
second.
moved, excuse me, I did it again.
All
Open.
those in favor say aye. Roll
Aye.
call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We will not be returning.
Thank you, Cable.